Hi, welcome to this fifth look at the Christmas 2023 weather prospects at the time of filming, for it's just 1 week to go until the big day. So how is it shaping up? Well, before jumping into the computer model data, just a quick reminder of the definition of a white Christmas. There it is. That may not count, that one may, because if you look closely, there are 1 or 2 flakes of snow mixed into the precipitation which has fallen, and it only takes 1 flake to count. Okay, so on this update, I don't think there's a great deal of value in looking at the analogues. The range is now too short, therefore, straight into the medium range computer model data, starting with the UK Met Office Global 00 GMT Christmas Day. And it's actually quite a cold picture. A plunge of Arctic air moving down into much of Europe, the UK, as is often the case, just on its western edge, but still a cold picture, particularly across the north. Similar on the GFS model, this is 15 hours later, so 3 p.m. on December the 25th, the core of the cold to our east, but temperatures on the low side, especially in the north. The German icon, a little bit different because there is more of a northerly flow moving down across all parts, with high pressure building further north to the west of the UK. There's a more amplified pattern there. Onto the European ECM model, and it's closer to the GFS and the UK Met Global, but quite a chilly picture, especially in the north. Finally, the Christmas Grinch is the Canadian global model. It has a flatter flow, so it's less cold across all regions. And I think it's just worth taking a look at a couple of the precipitation forecast charts from those models. The one on the left is from the GFS. The pink shading shows sleet or snow. If it's right, parts of the northern half of the UK especially could have a technical white Christmas. On the right, the Canadian model output shows precipitation falling as rain rather than sleet or snow, with that milder or at least less cold westerly flow covering all parts of the United Kingdom. So some differences there, but most of the deterministic models at least are showing a rather cold Christmas Day, especially in the north. Does the Ensemble data support that theme? Well, here's the output from the MOGREPS-G, so it's the Ensemble model run by the UK Met Office. Each one of these stamps, as they are called, shows the forecast output from one of the runs within the Ensemble. And on this particular chart, it's showing forecast maximum temperatures at 15 GMT Christmas Day. If you look closely, you'll see that in the north, most of them are going for a cold afternoon. In the south even, quite a lot of them, in fact I think the majority, show temperatures close to or below the average. There are some milder runs in the mix, but not too many at the moment. Here's the GEFS Ensemble. So this is run in the United States by NCEP. It's comparable to the UK Met Office MOGREPS-G. There are more individual members in each update. And I think the difference that you'll see here, if you look in detail, is that there are more runs in the south in particular, which have milder air returning by this time. Higher temperatures are more likely, according to the GEFS than the MOGREPS-G. Nonetheless, there are still plenty which are going for a cold day, especially in the northern half of the UK. And breaking down the GEFS temperature forecasts, the data tables here, the one on the left is for London, the middle one York, and the right one is Glasgow. The column circled with red is Christmas Day. You can see there that the London one has most of the runs going into a light green shading. Those are going for forecast maximums between 6 and 10 Celsius. Jumping to the York update, and there is more dark green. So the dark green indicates runs between 1 and 5 Celsius. 45% there. And finally, on the right, Glasgow, 84% of the individual runs within the GEFS are going for forecast maximums between 1 and 5 Celsius. There's even a little bit of blue there. Those are the really cold runs. 3% equates to 1 run actually. -8C to 0 Celsius maximum. So definitely a signal, quite a strong one here, for it to be colder as you head northwards across the UK, indicating as well the greater likelihood of sleet or snow and a technical white Christmas. The snow risk forecasts here from the GEFS support that message. The one here is for London, York and Glasgow. What you need to be looking for is the amount of purple. You can see there's a lot more purple in the Glasgow table here than in the York and especially the London one. Purple indicates an individual run within the Ensemble, which is forecasting snow to fall during that time period. So the more purple, the better. It looks like there's quite a lot there on the Glasgow data table. So quite a reasonable chance, I really do think, of a technical white Christmas at least being recorded in parts of the northern half UK. I think it's also just very important to emphasise that it's headed Glasgow, but it actually covers quite a big area. The grid point being used here is quite large, so it expands beyond Glasgow. So maybe the chance of snow falling in the city centre itself is lower, but in the outlying areas over higher ground, that's maybe where a lot of that purple is being generated. So, to summarise what's showing up at the moment, because there is still time for change, the computer models are indicating the probability of cold conditions in the north. There is more uncertainty about temperatures in the south, but on balance, it may well be quite cold, at least seasonal. Widespread snow continues to appear unlikely, but there is a good chance, I think, of a technical white Christmas, at least in parts of the north. In the south, it's not out of the question, although the probability is a good deal lower. One thing I haven't mentioned here that I am going to now flag up is the chance of disturbances pushing in from the Atlantic through Christmas Day, with milder air returning behind them. But as they bump into the cold air over the UK, they could lead to a period of sleet or snow, especially in the north, but not only. I think the chance of that scenario happening at the moment is low. It's not completely discounted. So I've got to issue a white Christmas score. Last week, I gave it 2 out of 5. What am I going for on this update? Well, I'm bumping it up to 3. The highest it has been since I started these updates in November. But I've got to say that I found it difficult putting together the forecast today because the window of opportunity for cold weather seems to be very narrow. If cold air does move down across the UK, it probably won't hang around for too long. So we just need a bit of luck for it to coincide with Christmas Day. Well, that's more or less it, but I mentioned in previous weeks that I would try and dig out my lucky Santa hat. Well, here it is. The lights should be flashing away if you look closely. I got this back in 1995, a very long time ago, and that was probably the best white Christmas which I've experienced in the UK. I spent it in Hunmanby, near the Yorkshire coast. It started snowing on Christmas Day in the morning, and it didn't stop until Boxing Day, and by then the hedgerows were buried in drifts which were several metres deep. It was a fantastic white Christmas. Very localised though, because I can remember driving into York a few days later, 30 or 40 miles inland, there was no snow at all. And that really highlights how conditions can vary in the UK over very, very short distances. Well, finally, it's almost Christmas time and it was hard work today, so I think I've earned this. This is one of my wife's delicious mince pies. I may or may not do another update, but if I don't, I'd like to wish you all a very, very happy Christmas and thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, then as ever, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel if you've not done so already. Thanks now. Bye.